Now, from CBS 4 News, this is Facing South Florida with Jim DeFede.
Welcome to a special edition of CBS 4 News. I'm Jim DeFede, and today I'm here in Miami, where we're going to take a look at the toll gun violence takes on our community. About 25 miles to the north of here, jury selection has been underway for weeks in a Broward County courtroom to consider whether Nicholas Cruz should be put to death for killing his fellow students and teachers at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. The proceedings are broadcast nationally on Court TV and is covered by reporters not just from South Florida, but from across the country. That shooting joined a long list of high-profile mass shootings in Florida that have often captured the nation's attention. The Pulse nightclub shooting in 2016 that left 49 people dead. The Fort Lauderdale airport shooting in 2017, in which 5 people were killed and 6 were injured. The El Mula banquet hall shooting last year, where 3 people were killed and another 20 were wounded. And of course, it's not just Florida. The massacre at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, was just the latest in a string of mass shootings across the country in recent weeks. After each incident, a debate over gun violence ensues. Little gets resolved, and as time passes, the media spotlight moves elsewhere. Last year, after the El Mula shooting, we wanted to shift the focus from these high-profile mass casualty shootings to the types of shootings that have become so common they garner little attention or outrage, but are no less painful for those who lost loved ones. And as the families of the victims watch the attention paid to cases like Parkland, it would be disingenuous not to acknowledge part of that indifference they face stems from where these shootings take place and the color of the skin of those being shot.
My name is Myrna Williams Cameron. I lost my son Antonio Johnson in 2009.
My name is Romania Dukes. I lost my son DeMichael Dukes July 21st, 2014. 10 steps away from me, my son died in my arms.
I am Regina Tullibert. I lost my daughter, Nerisia Tullibert, October 17th, 2015. She was killed a day after my birthday.
My name is Tracy Brown. I lost my son in 2007.
My name is Letha Bush. I'm the mother of 5. My oldest son, Jack Brown III. On December the 26th, Jack was gunned down on 20th Street and 3rd Avenue.
My name is Mary Henderson, and I lost my son to gun violence.
We met these 6 mothers here at the Mount Calvary Baptist Church last year through the group Parents of Murdered Kids, which was founded by Tangela Sears.
They've become their own voices. They've lost their kids, and at one point, no one voiced anything for us after the burial. Yeah. So now you get an opportunity to hear from other mothers that have their voice out here as well that's being heard.
Having worked for years as an advocate for families of shooting victims, Tangela felt that pain herself when her son was shot to death following an argument in an apartment complex in Tallahassee in 2015.
I'm still trying to accept that this happened. My healing come in being there for them, avoiding my own situation, ignoring my own situation. They're my strength. They are the ones that I talk to in the middle of the night. They are the ones that call me and I call them in the middle of the night because honestly, we only have one another.
Even though her son was unarmed, the man who shot him was found not guilty, using Florida's Stand Your Ground defense. While the outcome devastated Tangela, her son's case made it into a courtroom. Most of these mothers never get that opportunity.
I didn't get any justice because the witness was scared to come forth. And I just feel like I'm walking around Red 9 in the Wild West. It haven't gotten any better. After my daughter got killed, 2015, I'm not gonna lie, it done got worse. It's worse, and it's painful. Every time I look at TV, I see the shooting, another mother or father feeling like I am. It's a pain never go anywhere.
Their stories are heart-wrenching.
He was shot down by 5 guys and shot him 5 times in the back, and then they stood over him and shot him in the head. And I got all this information, but don't nobody know nothing, or nobody seen nothing. But it's been 14 years, and I don't have any cooperation with the detectives, homicide, or I just don't have any cooperation. Even with my advocate, I don't have any cooperation. I don't know anything. They're not telling me anything. And I'm a grieving mom. I'm broken. I'm so broken inside. I don't, know what else we can do. We done so much. We fight, we march, we have, events. We just try to bring people together. We try to go out and talk to the community. The people don't want to come to the doors. It's out of control. It's really painful.
Lethea Bush lost her son, Jack.
He was in the store, and him and a young man had an argument. And after the argument, he walked out of the store. His daughter was waiting on him across the street. Next thing you know, you heard gunshots. Immediately rushed her to the house for her not to see her father. And I'm watching the news at the same time. I'm saying, Lord, somebody's child and got shot over town, not knowing it was my son laying in the middle of the street. That moment that they killed my son, they killed my family. They tore my family apart because after the funeral, we separated for years until Tan brought us back together. Just to say to the people out there, y'all don't know what you do to families. You don't know what you do to us after you take a loved one from us. I've lost 6 family members in Liberty City to gun violence, but it was nothing like taking my child, because I'm still angry. I still haven't got any justice. The only time we get the support is from another mother. And Tan has to talk to all of us. I don't know how you do it, darling, because we all have different characters. We have emotions running up and down. And all I want to see is the community come back together and stop the killing. But you got to get these killers off the street, because if you don't, we're going to continue to have what we're having, killing after killing.
Some of you described actually being there when your loved one died.
I got that call 4:41 on a Wednesday morning. I had worked the elections and I was very, very tired, so I didn't make it to my bed. I just fell out on the couch. And my phone rung and I was able to answer. And when she told me, say my son had been shot, she didn't say killed. So me and my other son got up, went to the area, to the crime scene, and there they were.
And what did you see?
I seen the tape, the yellow tape. I seen the rescue squad and I seen his car. So when I got there, I thought they were still working on him in the rescue wagon. So while I'm over here, they had already covered the car, but I didn't realize what the yellow cover was, but he was still in the car.
Does anyone else want to share how they learned that their child passed? Sure.
One Saturday afternoon, I was taking my grandson to my son, and I was 2 blocks away from him when he got killed. I got there and I saw the yellow tape. They had shot him once behind the left ear, and they took him out the car. They shot him in the back of the head, and he was hanging over the door. So they took the car with him in it to the morgue. They told me that the young lady had been shot, but they had taken her to the emergency room. And mind you, she was 2 months pregnant with my granddaughter when this happened to her. And that's how I found out that he had been shot.
You're raising your grandson
yeah,
now.
I have the oldest child.
How old is he now?
He'll be 13 in a couple of months.
What do you tell him about what happened to his father?
Well, he's older now, and we explained to him, what happened. And all he says is that, Grandma, will they ever find a person? I said, well, as long as I'm living, I'm going to make sure we get justice for your dad. That I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure I get justice for him.
Romania, you want to say something?
When my son DeMichael was killed, they was on top of a stairway. It was him, his sister, my other daughter, and his group of friends. And it's a long staircase, so you had other group of kids that was hanging around. Mind you, it was a lot of people outside playing, little kids, big kids, women doing hair outside. Everybody scattered everywhere. My son and my daughter got up out the chair to run away from the gunshots, and that stray bullet caught him in the chest. We came out. I was just standing there 10 steps away.
Your other son, Terence, was there, wasn't he?
Yes, my son Terence was there.
He was 11 at the time.
He was 11 years old, sitting on the tank with his playmates. And
he saw
saw everything. Everybody out there saw everything.
What's the impact on Terence?
He's 18 now. It's hard. It impacted all of us because all of my kids was there. I don't have brothers and sisters, so it always been me and my kids together. And it has affected all of us, him more. And I stay on him because he's like that 18-year-old, and I'm telling him, no, you know, he wasn't able to be a teenager. He's still not able to be a teenager because I'm afraid. I'm afraid for my 31-year-old because there's so much out there. We living in a different era now. So I'm always afraid for my older kids, my younger kids, and my grandkids, and the Michael daughter. She was only 2 months old when he passed away.
When we come back, more of our conversation with the group, the Mothers of Murdered Kids. Stay with us. Welcome back to the CBS Miami special on gun violence. When there are mass shootings like the ones that recently took place in Buffalo and Uvalde, Texas, Tangela Sears, the founder of Mothers of Murdered Kids here in Miami, says it can set off a new round of pain and emotion for the mothers in her group.
All we can do is grab one another when it happens because we already realize that we don't get the attention that's needed and the proper resources that's needed. You know, we say witnesses, witnesses, witnesses. We must understand now that a lot of the witnesses, they are so afraid. They're so afraid. And so it's important that protection is put in place for them. But I'll just go back to 1998. Killing was not right, but there was a code in our community. And that means women and children was off limits. Today it's totally different. It don't matter when you can go and see a bunch of kids having a birthday party in broad daylight and you'll pull out a gun and begin to shoot. It lets you know that they don't care, and they wear this shooting after they kill someone with a badge of honor.
Do you see that? Do you agree?
Yes,
Yeah.
I highly agree.
Go ahead. Who wants
Because
to?
they don't know what they do to the family. My son had 7 kids. My granddaughter, I just had to call 10 for her. She's a cutter, the one that see her father. And they don't know. We just need more support. Like in our community, we need more help. We need more policing. We need more mental help for these kids.
I want to come to you, Tracy. The notion of when these shootings occur again and suddenly there's all this attention. I saw you nodding before when I was talking about that and how it comes up. She says that
it takes me back in my mind that, you know, I'm watching all this go on because of so many people getting shot, that the attention that they get when my son wasn't even mentioned in the newspaper or anything. You know, they just, it goes on and goes on and nobody is recognized. And so many killings go on that they don't have time, I guess, to work on this case because they're jumping from case to case to case. We just left out.
It's a lot of gangs. A lot of our children are in gangs. Not mine, I'm just saying, because my baby, she was my baby that got killed. A lot of these parents know that their kids is doing a lot of bad things. Even though they get killed, and it's painful, that's still your child and you love them. Right. Because you can have the best parents, you preach to your children all the time, and they go out there, they sell drugs, they in these gangs, and that's what they're doing. And a lot of the kids get killed and caught up because they're hanging out with good children and bad children. Right. And that's just the way it is. I work for the school board, and I hear a lot, and I know a lot when it comes to kids. Like my daughter, I'm not gonna tell you she was perfect, but she was getting ready to go to college. And around this time of the year is very, very painful for me. Prom, graduation, it hurts me to the core because she was right there at the door, getting ready to go to UCF. She wanted to be a nurse practitioner, and she was cut off. They called her to come get her, some friends. I'm sorry I let her drive so early. I wish I wouldn't have let her drive a car, but she earned it. I should have made her walk everywhere she went. I think she would have been here. She was the only one in her little group that had a car to drive to school. And I just feel bad sometimes that I gave her all of this stuff because she earned it. She was an honor student. She was doing very well. She made me and her daddy happy. I'm not saying I can't watch her 24 hours a day, but she made me happy as a young lady of excellence.
Myrna, we were talking before we got started, and you said, the street talks, the street knows.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Like,
Yes.
you know what happened.
Yeah, they know.
My son got killed when me and my ex-husband came on the scene. There was people around that was talking that day, and everybody that saw us that day talked to us and told us what happened that day. But yet and still, you were not willing to talk to the police and tell them what was going on. But you were able to tell us what happened, what you saw, and everything.
Is there anyone here who thinks that, you know, that we should defund the police?
No.
You want the police. I mean, there's this perception that, well, we don't want the police in the community.
We got good ones, we got bad
We're
ones.
not
Moral
grieving
police
parents,
is
so
out
we
here.
want
Exactly.
we want to be able to connect with our detective. You heard Tracy say earlier, we have been pleading with the police departments to make calls with parents every 60 days.
A lot of the police
at one
scared.
time we
They
did.
scared too. A lot of them scared. I'm being honest. They scared. They fear for their life. Because these young kids today do not have no remorse. They are not scared of the police. And I want you to know they call them security guards, some of them. They don't have the fear.
So we talk about parents, but let's get to, because what you just said gets to the heart of what I think is missing in this conversation. How does a kid, and when I say a kid, I'm talking about whether you're 15, 16, or in your early 20s, how does a kid get to the point where they pick up a gun and think it's okay to use?
He was 15 years old, the guy that killed my daughter.
But how do they get there?
Break-in houses, cars, some of the older guys from the gangs, donate them and all that. You can get
Friends
them
buy
quick.
them and
Yeah.
report them
A
stolen.
lot of peer pressure in the projects. or
Sometimes you
anywhere.
have community stores selling these
Yeah,
young
there's
kids.
some community stores, I heard.
And don't forget.
What do you mean?
after
Wait,
they
I'm sorry, I
killed-
apologize. What do you mean by community stores?
Stores and other stores.
You talking about like convenience stores?
And then remember, once a person is killed, they sell that gun on the street to somebody else as well. So the guns are just, that's why I always say it's a difference what people want from Congress than what we need.
But I guess what I'm talking about more is, do they not value life? Do they not value their own life?
No. Remember,
They'll tell you they're ready to
I'm
go.
not saying we just wear our shirts at the funeral. We was talking about being teachers, doctors, and nurses when we was growing up.
I don't want to compare tragedies, but when you see the shooting in Parkland at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, and
That was somebody crazy.
somebody crazy, absolutely, and there were warnings, and it shouldn't have happened, and all the rest of it, but the attention, that it gets when a large number of white children die, as opposed to, there is a Parkland that happens every few months, if you just add them up, here in this community. Do you feel that there are, in that sense, two Americas, two Miamis, two South Floridas, where one for white, one for black?
My son didn't get that attention.
Right.
They didn't see how we could get counseling for our families. They didn't see how could we get a case solved. We didn't get that kind of attention.
Why do you think you don't get those resources? Do you think that a black life is valued less than a white life?
Yeah, most of the time they make you feel that way.
I don't want to put words in your
Yes,
mouth.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Yes,
It's the
it's not the lifestyle because you can raise your child to the best ability. You can have a pastor child get killed. You're gonna listen. Let something like Parkland happen. They're gonna forget about it. Look at the pastor that got killed. Look at our children. How many times you hear them call us and say, you have IDB, can we do something for you? Where your case is at? Did you get justice yet? No, we don't get that. And yes, I'm very angry about it because my child was loved. He meant something.
What's the lowest moment you hit during the course of either a day, a month, a year? Is it the anniversary? Is it just all of a sudden out of the blue with
It's
no
a lot
reason?
of trigger.
The biggest trigger for me is when I look at his children. And one day my grandson said to me, Grandma, you know I really need my dad. And I think that got to me worse than anything that I could have heard. That's a hurting thing. And my granddaughters, they never met him. And how do you explain to them a person that they never met How do you explain that to them? And my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter said to me one day, Grandma, I just wish that I could just see him one time. And all I could do is just look at how the tears started rolling. But like I say, I have not grieved for him yet. This whole 12 years, it's been about them. It's been about the three of them. That's all it's been about. And if I didn't have them, I think I would have been going off the deep end. I know Antonio's not coming back. I know he's gone. But I'm not ready to really face all of that yet. So my whole thing's been about them, all about their life.
Every holiday, every birthday, we spent at the Michael grave site. And that's the hardest thing. And I try to tell people that we don't have no expiration date. It's no expiration date on our pain. Right. And I need everyone to understand that. They think just because it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, that pain don't go away. We deal with it every day. We cry every day. I could be looking at a comedy and just bust out crying. We could be at a red light, just bust out crying. It don't go away. It just don't go away.
Pick up on that. Who else wants to talk about that? The pain not going away.
The pain never goes away.
Yeah.
My Lewis left 3 beautiful girls. And when they come and visit, because they just pop up now anytime they want to. They look exactly like them. And they have a knack of just getting in front of me and grab me and do like that. You know, and I'm like, don't do that, because they know, I'm going to break down because they look so much like they daddy.
They are.
Like he spit them out, and I could hear a song. I could see someone down the street with dreads look like him, a certain kind of food, especially around Thanksgiving. I can see him and smacking my mom on her butt, trying to sneak in her pot.
Yeah.
I feel him. He come to me, I feel him sometimes.
But what really gets me holidays, she will always get up, come in the kitchen when I'm making sweet potato pies and want to take her fingers to lick the ending of it. And she'll go and play the piano. I have not moved all of her things out the house. It'll be 6 years this year coming up. And that's the hardest part when I'm by myself in the house. And I have to walk back and forth and look in her room. I used to go and try to smell her clothes, just hold on to smelling the scent, trying to see. And it's just so hard. I done had people to tell me what you need to do is get rid of her clothes and do this and that. I have not. I moved some. Every year I try to take some out because I could use that space too for myself. But that's the hardest part, just going in my house.
Yeah.
I'll be back with a few closing thoughts in a moment. The pain these mothers feel is unimaginable. Their stories will never receive the attention they deserve. The media moves from one shooting to the next until they almost become so repetitive, they all blur together. In no way does this half hour make up for that. But the next time you see or read about another shooting, hopefully you'll think about these mothers and the families left behind. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jim DeFede, CBS News, Miami.